Russian President Vladimir Putin travels to China as he looks to strengthen ties between the two countries. And Slovakia's prime minister is seriously wounded during an assassination attempt. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Thursday, May 16th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. Amid his country's war with Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin has turned to one of his closest allies for support, Chinese President Xi Jinping. Putin arriving in Beijing today for a two-day state visit with the Chinese leader as both nations face growing tensions with the West. The two leaders are expected to speak on topics including Ukraine, Asia, energy, and trade, and celebrate 75 years since the Soviet Union recognized the People's Republic of China. Xi and Putin signed a joint statement deepening their strategic ties, with Xi saying China will always be a good partner to Russia. When Putin visited in February of 2022, just before the start of the war with Ukraine, China and Russia declared a no-limits partnership, though China has contended it is neutral as it pertains to the war. The U.S. has raised concerns that China's exports to Russia are aiding the Kremlin in the conflict. China has fired back, saying the U.S. is making groundless accusations. Putin's visit to China is his first foreign trip since he was declared the winner of Russia's presidential election earlier this month, a victory that keeps him in power until at least 2030. The Prime Minister of the European nation of Slovakia is in very serious but stable condition this morning after an assassination attempt that was caught on camera. Police took down the 71-year-old gunman moments after he shot Prime Minister Robert Fico 5 times in an attack government officials say was politically motivated. The suspect has reportedly been charged and faces up to life in prison. The country's deputy prime minister saying doctors have been able to stabilize Fico's condition. A hospital official saying the prime minister has undergone 5 hours of surgery and will remain in the intensive care unit. The shooting was the first major assassination attempt on a political leader in Europe in more than 20 years. The U.S. military says it has anchored the temporary floating pier to a beach in Gaza this morning, which will allow more humanitarian aid to enter the war-torn region. U.S. Central Command says trucks will begin to move aid in the coming days, adding no U.S. troops have entered the Gaza Strip during the installation of the pier. According to U.S. officials, hundreds of tons of aid are already primed for delivery, and thousands more are in the pipeline, with some already loaded onto a ship waiting at a nearby port. The United Kingdom says its first shipment of aid to be delivered by the pier includes thousands of temporary shelters. Initially, the pier is expected to allow 90 truckloads of aid daily, with that number increasing to 150 when the pier is fully operational. A barge collided with a bridge in Galveston, Texas on Wednesday, leading to an oil spill and causing significant damage. Officials reporting no injuries, but the Pelican Island Causeway Bridge remains closed to all traffic. Video shows part of a rail line alongside the bridge collapsed after the barge broke loose and drifted, slamming into the bridge. The U.S. Coast Guard says the barge has stopped leaking, but the extent of the spill is unknown. Texas A&M University at Galveston has closed its campus through the weekend. The bridge connects Pelican Island, a population of roughly 9,000 people, to Galveston. Engineers are assessing the damage to determine when the bridge can reopen. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee, have agreed to participate in 2 presidential debates. Today, however, they will be part of 2 very different events. Trump will be back in a New York courtroom as his criminal trial resumes following a day off. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, will return to the stand to face more cross-examination from his legal team. Trump has pleaded not guilty in the case. At the White House, President Biden will meet plaintiffs from the Brown versus Board of Education case and their families. The landmark 1954 Supreme Court ruling found segregating children in school by race was unconstitutional. It will be a different story for Trump and Biden on June 27th and September 10th, as both have agreed to face off in two presidential debates organized by news organizations, not by the Bipartisan Commission on Presidential Debates, which has traditionally scheduled debates in the fall. The first debate will air on CNN, the second on ABC. For more election-related coverage, you can download the Straight Arrow News app and enable notifications so you don't miss the stories that matter to you. Finally this morning, back in March, we reported here on the Rundown that the NFL will play 2 games on Christmas Day this year. And now we know where you'll be able to watch them: on Netflix. The streaming service announcing it will carry both games on Wednesday, December 25th. A first for Netflix as the company ventures more into live sports programming. Netflix reportedly paying $75 million per game. As part of a 3-year deal with the NFL, Netflix will air at least one Christmas Day game in 2025 and 2026. This year's doubleheader will see the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs meet the Pittsburgh Steelers, followed by the Baltimore Ravens facing the Houston Texans. These are your top stories for this Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.